Okay guys, here's the video that we've been looking for the test. I'm just going to bring it up already worked out so that we can just look at a couple of things. First problem says identify the following types of numbers. Make sure you remember irrationals. Those are pretty straightforward. Know your pieces that we talked about in class. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here so I can see the whole test. The second part is make sure with these rational functions you want to make sure you break them down first. Cancel, 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 kill, 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 kill. Irrational, imaginary, break it down first. Make sure there's nothing's left. Obviously this is imaginary because it has a negative sign. This first one says no solution. Remember, it's not an equation. You can't solve it. Number 2, make sure you look at your bottoms. Multiply, give everything to 3, 6x. Cancel, cancel. You're left with x equals 6. Same thing, talked about in class. Give it to everybody. Don't discriminate. Cancel. Next one, look at the bottoms. Give it to 2t minus 4, 4t minus 1. Cancel. Don't forget to draw your dance lines. Let me grab the highlighter real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. Don't forget your dance lines right here, right here. Distribute, letters left, numbers right. T equals minus 20 over 39. Now we're going to open up the next page of the test. We're not going to save that. Test 2, page 2. Let's zoom this out again. Okay, going down here to the zoom out, control minus, that's the test, that's the problems. Let me bring up the solutions, that way we can see and talk about the solutions. This is Smith 1, test 2, solutions. Remember, when you're looking at this problem, remember, quadratic equation, everything left, factor, set your pieces equal to 0, x equals 6, x equals minus 1. Very important that you put that x equals 6, x equals minus 1. Next thing that's important is the next problem says solve the equation using the square root property. Really shouldn't have said the square root property. That was just a leftover from some other instructions. You have a fraction, give everybody a 5, multiply, divide by 2. Bottom number on that exponent tells you what kind of house, how many in the house. Since that's a cube root house, you have to cube it to get rid of that. That leaves you 3x minus 2 equals minus 125 plus 2. Solve for x. X equals minus 41. Anybody have trouble with to complete the square problem? Don't forget, plus the blank spots. Divide by 4 to get rid of that 4 first. Then that way you're ready to take. Then when you go from there, you have 9 over 4. And actually, so this 2 right here comes from half of the middle term, square it's 4, check with the gatekeeper, add 6 to both sides, divide by 4 to get rid of that fraction. Now you take the square root property, to plus and minus 3 over 2, square root of 9, square root of 4. This was a nice problem because when you give everybody the house, you don't have a x square root on the bottom. So your answer becomes 2 plus or minus 1.5. Split it. First time you add 1.5. Second time you subtract 1.5. Next problem. A lot of people had a big number. Tried to give everybody 4, 16, and 8. Why not just try 16? Everybody divides by 16. That 16 turns that 4 into a 4. Because 16 divided by 4 is 4. 16 divided by 8 is 2. Now it becomes a quadratic formula, which is a whole lot easier than trying to substitute that fraction. You have minus 1 plus or minus square root of 97 over 24. Two answers. Make sure you write them both like that. I like to split them to help you. I'll open the next part of the test. Let's go grab test page 3 solutions. We're going to minimize again so you can see the whole test. Bring it up. Several people made a silly mistake and forgot you cannot have an I on the bottom. You have to do what? Use the conjugate. Conjugate says first plus last. 2 times 2 is 4. This would always be a plus with an imaginary conjugate. Plus 9. Show your dance lines on top. You get 4 pieces. Anytime you see I squared, that turns into a minus 1. So that's why that becomes 8 plus 6. Right here gives you my 14. And then 8i over 13. Remember, your real part is 14 over 13. Your imaginary part is 8 over 13. Do not say I, because the I already tell you that's your imaginary part. Number 9, you have a square root. Once it's so ugly, it wants to be by itself. You got to square it first. That turns into quadratic. Everybody left. Your leading coefficient is negative, so you simply going to change everybody. Got to change the red light before you can go. You ask yourself, do you love me? You do. Factor. X equals 3. X equals 90 minus 4. 2 solutions. Number 10. Hardest question on the test, I do believe. Several people gave everybody 3 sevens. You only just need 1 to kill those sevens. That gives you 3x to the 4th minus x squared minus 2 equals 0. Substitute u equals x squared to make it a quadratic equation. Bridge over troubled water gives you a 6. Give you a tree. Check your middle term. Minus 3 plus 2i. You factor out a 3u. You factor out a 3u. Factor out a 3u. Then you factor out a 2. Kill the twins. Right? Copy what you see. Put 1 back. Set both pieces equal to 0. But you can't leave it as a u. So that's why we said u equals minus 2/3. Right here. Take the square root plus a minus square root of 6 over 3. Because you got to bring that 3 up and take it out the house on the bottom. You know the square root of 1 is plus or minus 1. We have 4 solutions. You only have 2 real solutions, but that's 4 solutions. Next problem is inequalities. Anytime you see an inequality, you want to check your regions. I changed the sign first, so the inequality sign has to change. Divide by 6. Isolate the absolute value by itself. First time you copy it just like it is. Second time you copy it. And switch the outside signs. My zeros are minus 28 and 20. Check your regions. I always use 0 first. That's my hero. That was bad. So I checked the other 3. It was good. Inequality note. Interval notation says you can have an open parentheses next to infinity. And that becomes an OR. Next one, a lot of people complicated. It was already factored for you, so it's real simple. Put your minus 4, your 1, your 3, check your regions again, and that was a disjunction. Number 13, change the sign. X plus 4 over 10 is absolute value. That's always going to be positive, so all real numbers are positive, so they're all greater than negative 36. Done. Don't make that one any harder. Let's catch this next page. Okay, page 4, solutions. This is the one we're going to zoom out. This is the one that you had to look at for a second. Most important thing with this guy is 2x plus 1. You canceled it right there, but you got to remember the bottom cannot be 0. So that's why over here I said that guy equals 0. So I knew whenever I finish, everything's going to be good except for negative 1/2. So that created another region for me to test. I test to the left, middle, and to the right. Found out the middle was good. Therefore, it was a conjunction. And therefore, open circles. So inequality does not have any lines underneath. Interval notation is open parentheses. And then copy for set notation. Exclusive because of empty circles. Number 15 says do not solve. Anytime you say identify the type of solutions, you just want to use the discriminant. The main thing with that was I had fractions, so I gave everybody 5, so my A, B, C value was a whole lot easier to deal with than that fraction. I got 9 plus 80, 89, two positive real roots. Remember, if d equals 0, you have one double root, and if it is less than 0, which is negative, then you have two imaginary roots. Next one, we're going to look at the next page, which would have been the word problems. We've discussed this in class twice, even on an extra session. And like we said, they're going to be already, main thing with those guys is setup. You have to spend your time and work them out. The setup is going to be the same. Mixture problems, you know you're going to have a blank blank plus blank blank equals blank blank. Investment problems is going to be blank blank plus blank blank equals one blank. That's the difference, so you got to make sure it's the remainder. Very straightforward. Look how we did this. You should have good notes on these. The bonus, let you work it through, see what you can do. Give you one hint, the time and time was the same because they said the same time. So I solve for time up, solve for time down, plug in, isolate the variable. Make sure when you move your decimal on these mixture problems, you move this one twice, you got to move him twice, you got to move him twice. That 20 was just pretty much a distractor, but you know it's $20 a pound. That's where that 20 comes from. Didn't want to get into too much details. Wanted to give you the video, like I said, was going to do. Got to look at it, got to study. This is the first test. It's a retest, so we don't do another retest. So you want to do well on this one. Have a good one. Bye.